afternoon. So in life, you're going to encounter stress, and there's going to be things that you need to overcome, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you some skills that you can apply that's going to help you to combat that stress and overcome that and become more resilient. And that's the goal that we want, is resilience. So you want to be able to manage that stress, like I said, and you're going to do that by using what's called real-time resilience. And I'm going to go over what the military uses in order to train their soldiers. I am a master resiliency trainer, so I have been through a course that was taught by the University of Pennsylvania, and I've taught over 2,000 individuals military resilience, because naturally it's a job that you encounter a lot of adversity, a lot of stress, and you need to be able to handle that both in combat and garrison in a healthy way. All right, so MRT, or Master Resiliency Training, is training that was developed by the University of Pennsylvania, and they send leaders to that course so that way they can use these 14 key skills that are taught in order to help the force become more resilient, try and cut down on suicide rates, and allow them to react to whatever stressors they encounter in their life. All right, so these 14 skills are goal setting, ATC, hunt the good stuff, energy management, avoid thinking traps, detect icebergs, problem solving, put it in perspective, mental games, real-time resilience, which is the one that I'm going to focus on, identify character strengths and challenges in leadership, assertive communication, effective praise. And like I said, that's referenced from the University of Pennsylvania, is the individuals that actually developed this program. So first thing that we need to talk about is what exactly resiliency is, right? So resilience is the capacity to remain flexible when faced with adversity in order to emerge stronger. And that's from a psychologist named Pemberton, and that's kind of his definition. My definition is basically the same thing, and I just boiled it down and made it a little bit more layman's terms. Imagine that your mind is like a rubber ball, is what you want to be, not a glass ball. When you throw a rubber ball against the wall, it bounces back. When you throw a glass ball against the wall, it breaks. You want to be that rubber ball, and using these skills is going to assist you in becoming that rubber ball. All right, so there are various benefits of being a resilient individual. All right, these benefits are bounce, courage, connection, creativity. And those are directly from the Resiliency Institute, which is an online organization that helps foster resiliency training. All right, so bounce obviously is what I said, being able to bounce back from that adversity that you face, running into a rough situation, and then being able to bounce back from it and become stronger and learn and grow from the experience. Connection, being more resilient, is going to help you build connections with individuals throughout your life. If you're super grumpy and upset all the time because life's giving you adversity and you're running into all these obstacles, then you're not going to have a strong connection with the people around you, the people you care about, people that you want to foster a good connection with. Creativity, being able to bounce back from those situations is going to foster that creativity. It's going to allow you to open up your mind and think through different scenarios and try and find different outcomes to whatever you encounter. So real-time resiliency can be used anywhere. That's a skill that I'm going to go over that helps to foster that resiliency. However, no skill is more important than the other. Real-time resiliency is something that can be used everywhere, and it's used real-time. That's why it's called that. You can identify a problem, identify an obstacle, and use these resiliency skills in order to overcome that obstacle right then and there. It's not a reflection back. It's at that time, in that moment, how do you overcome that obstacle? So the goal of real-time resiliency is to shut down counterproductive thoughts. So when you identify and encounter those obstacles, that adversity, it's human nature to have those counterproductive thoughts. Oh, I'm never going to get through this. This is going to be hard. I can't do it. I'm going to have a really bad time. Whatever. Those counterproductive thoughts are going to stop you from being able to get out of that situation and become stronger and more resilient. So optimism and productiveness are the target, or is the target, of using real-time resilience. It helps to develop that working mind. So the way that you use real-time resilience is through sentence starters. So the first sentence starter is optimism. So let's say you have to give a speech, right? And then that thought in your head, because that's adversity, sometimes that's a stressful situation for some people. You might think to yourself, hey, those counterproductive thoughts is, I'm not prepared for this speech. I haven't done my proper rehearsals and homework. So the optimism sentence starter is, that's a more optimistic way to see this is, I'm gonna grow from this experience and I'm gonna become better afterwards. So try to drown out that counterproductive thought and make it a productive thought. Another sentence starter is evidence. So again, using the same scenario, a speech saying, I'm not prepared for this speech, that's a counterproductive thought. Using evidence, well, that's not completely true because I did my outline, I've rehearsed, I'm ready to do it. That helps you to combat those counterproductive thoughts. So there's some pitfalls when using real-time resilience. And pitfalls are issues that you're gonna encounter if you don't use this correctly. So not having a strong sentence starter, not being fully invested in the skill. So an example of a pitfall is lying to yourself. If you really aren't prepared for this speech and you say, oh, well, that's not entirely true because I'm prepared for it, even though you didn't do any homework, you didn't do any rehearsals, you haven't made your notes, then you're lying to yourself and you're not really prepared for it. So that's not using the skill correctly. Another one is playing the blame game. Well, blaming somebody else for whatever you run into. So saying a more optimistic way to look at that is the fact that I don't really care what my teacher thinks and I'm gonna get a good grade anyway. Whatever. Using blaming other people for your issues or the stressors in your life. So if you encounter those pitfalls, all you're gonna do at that right then and there is use a better sentence starter and then try and develop that resilient mind. So there's a lot of practical applications. I mean, you can name anything, any reason why you need to be resilient, right? The one that I found that kind of resonated with me was athletics. So in sports, it's proven, a sports psychologist named Edgar, he did some research on resiliency in sports, and he showed that athletes that are more resilient or practice that resiliency, they play at a more optimal level across the board because they are resilient and they can bounce back from a loss or a goal scored against them or missing a shot, whatever it is. So optimism, resiliency is key for that, for playing at the optimal level in sports. So, in conclusion, you control your stressors in your life. You control how you respond to that stress and how you react. Using real-time resiliency and all of the master resiliency skills are going to help foster that rubber ball mindset, being able to bounce back from adversity, being able to grow, become stronger, have better connections with people around you, be more creative. So applying these skills daily is going to be key. Do I have any questions? All right. Well, this concludes my class. Thank you guys for joining.